Good evening, all my dear heroes out there. We are finally out of the era of the villains. I'm out of my villain era. It's time to embrace the undaunted raid. And what a last couple weeks or so of embracing it has been. My name is Levi Lalonde, guys. I've got with me Mr. Kyle Wright, and we are super duper pumped to tell you guys all about the awesome things coming up, not only in Set 5, in Undaunted Raid, in this Wednesday Webcam Weekly, in the whole world of MHA CCG. There's been a lot of really crazy stuff going on, and it's got me mighty pumped up. How about you, Kyle? How are you feeling about things right now?
Oh, I'm super excited. We've had a couple of new cards shown off, and they're already looking really cool. Few big announcements that for me were personally very exciting. I'm very optimistic about the upcoming weeks and months.
Yeah, I would say the introduction of Mr. Bill Stark into the community and into Jasco and into the game has been the understatement of the year to say that he's a Giga Chad coming in and
Mhm.
really turboing things up. But let's rewind back a little bit before we get into all of those super cool announcements, because as you said, Kyle, these reveals are really heating up. These clash decks are looking super duper sick, guys. If you didn't catch our pre-show from last week, Gamma went on and we saw a bunch of awesome stuff coming out of Set 5 Undaunted Raid. We saw the first of our characters, Mr. Mirio Togata, Lemillion himself, and of course his arch rival Overhaul coming into battle with these Undaunted Raid clash decks looking so amazing. And of course, the rest of the big three we saw as well, Miss Nejire Hado and Mr. Tamaki Amajiki, looking super duper sick. And I really can't wait to see what more comes from all of these characters. I think it's shaping up to be a really awesome set so far. We've seen a nice handful of reveals over the past few days, coming from both Mirio and Overhaul starter decks. And suffice to say, I'm very excited to see what these guys are going to do once we get into the actual game. Obviously, if you've been paying attention to any of our socials lately, you're pretty privy to the ones going on there. But in the event that you haven't, let's just sit down and talk about a couple of them with you guys. Mr. Kyle, what has been your favorite card coming from the reveals so far?
Oh man, it has to be Nice Try. That
Mm.
card looks incredible. It's just I love how versatile the card is. Being able to be used as an aggro piece, and then it just automatically readies itself, and then gets to be used as a defensive piece on the opponent's turn. On top of that, an extra low block when you're struggling for your zone. A taunt card, because I love me some taunt keyword. Like the card's just all around a fantastic piece that I think is going to see heavy play as threes and four ofs in lots of different decks. So I'm very excited about this card.
I totally agree with you, Kyle. I think this is a perfect starter deck card. I think for like new players who, as we kind of covered last week, right? New players are probably going to gravitate much more towards Mirio's starter deck. It's a lot more simplistic and focused on teaching, kind of raw game mechanics. Teaching players, especially new ones, how to like over and underextend is a really difficult part of this game. And I think having this foundation that you get to commit aggressively and then ready defensively, without punishment, in a very balanced way, right? It's a big 2/5. It only gives -2 speed. It feels like it's doing a lot of things right. I would almost say that this card is what I want every starter deck card to feel like.
Oh, for sure. I think it's a very good card that obviously in the greater meta is going to see play, but also just in I agree, in that starter deck environment, it allows that newer player to be able to learn how to extend and not overextend, right? While also not being punished.
Yeah, I love it. As for me, I'm gonna have to go to the overhaul side of things for my favorite, because I cannot get enough of Hardened Claw Crusher. I think this attack is so sweet. In an additional post on the social medias, we got to see it like in person, right? With the physical copy, the super shiny version. Not only does it look absolutely amazing, big shout out to all of the custom art on these. These are blowing me out of the gate right now. But as far as the card itself goes, man, this thing is so sick. Getting to do the hardened style strategy, right? Taking your committed foundations out, building in new ready ones, and then just getting to like target remove one of your rival's foundations. That ability on these symbols is something that we've really coveted. One of the things that I've said the most about this card is if the life players are down to play Lost in Thought, they're going to be super down to play this card to have access to removal like this.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a great spot removal piece, and also just a pretty decent setup piece for lots of different Earth Earth characters and other characters playing different pieces under its symbols. I think it'll certainly see a good amount of play in a lot of different decks.
Yeah, this card's got me more than hyped to see the rest of these starter decks, more than hyped to see the rest of these set 5 characters kits, and of course see more of these set 5 characters in total. It feels so good to be back in reveal season again, and if you want to catch more of the reveal action, you've got to stay tuned to all of these socials as we see more of these 2 Clash decks eventually moving our way into the set itself. But speaking of moving into the future, guys, as exciting as the reveals this week has been, this weekend is going to be even more pumped because we've got the Sheffield Regional License Exam going on all the way over in person in the UK. I think this is the first time we've ever had an in-person international event. I could not be more excited. I cannot wait to see and feel how the vibe and the energy of these players in another country is going to be at an official sanctioned event. Of course, it's going to be streamed, so you are going to be able to catch all of the action over here, right here on our Universus CCG Twitch channel. I'm really, really hyped for this event. Kyle, how do you feel about, obviously, we've seen the Oceanic Regional License Exam, we've seen their nationals in the past, we've seen how other countries play the game in a myriad of ways. What do you think is going to come out of an event like this for an England RLE?
I mean, I think the big thing that comes out of seeing UK and Oceanic and all the various different places play in their major events is that is extremely different card choice. It's very cool to sit down and look at all the different decks that do well and all the different things that people are playing and see just how different their meta game seems to be with the exact same card pool, pretty much, right? Um, it really makes me think about the choices that I'm making in my own decks and see how I could possibly adjust my decks and try and improve them in different ways that I'm not thinking about because our metagame may be a certain way versus the way theirs may be.
100% agree with you, Kyle. It all feels very, very global. It's going to be an awesome event, and I'm just truly excited that we're giving some coverage and some more attention to our international audiences. I know I'm in the Facebook groups all over the place for all the different countries for the game, and I feel the same love and passion from them that I do as all the American players at our events in the US. So I'm really, really hyped for them to get some much deserved attention and praise, and I think it's just going to be an awesome event, and you can catch all of the action, as I said, guys, right here on our Twitch. Myself, Nilmerg, and Jesse Cervini are going to be your commentary team for the weekend, and we're very excited to bring you guys an awesome stream. In other news, we've had a whole lot of communication and transparency from Jasco in the last few days, and that is big thanks to the almighty Bill Stark coming in onto the team as I believe one of the heads of gaming, the director of gaming. He's got some super duper epic RPG sounding title, but he has been absolutely popping off. If you don't know, Bill is one of the guys that made a lot of magic happen over at WotC in the past years, and he has come out of retirement practically to bring us some awesome power over at Jasco. And I'm really liking what he's been doing for us so far. He's got this awesome article that came out a couple, about a week or so ago about just like game design, and then now we've got this really awesome dev diary going into heavy detail about bands and erratas and the science behind them and the logic behind them, and it just feels so awesome to see where these guys' heads are at. It feels really great to get this level of communication. Kyle, what are your thoughts, man? Tell me what's going through your head when you see this kind of openness from the dev team.
Oh, this is what I was referencing earlier. I'm so excited about this. I think the big thing that has been lacking in the past is there just wasn't a ton of open communication. No one really knew what direction anything was going, and any step like this, but especially this, is really going to put a lot of confidence back into back into the minds of players. I think even if some months are lighter on the changes than others, just the open dialogue was something that I felt was sorely missing in the game before, and I think this will help us keep players as well as help us grow players because the company is just being more open and communicating with players about what the issues are.
Yeah, I feel like Bill is steering us into a grand new direction when it comes to communication with the player base, and I absolutely adore that. A lot of the big takeaways from aside from getting into the minds of the devs when it came to this article, is that they announced that we're now going to be getting ban list updates every single month, the first Tuesday of every month. Now, this does not mean that something is getting banned every month, but it just means that we're going to have a regular update, so you know when to actually expect the bans. And in general, we're probably going to get a little more communication every month as to why something or nothing gets touched. And I'm really, really looking forward to that. So if you guys want to keep up to date with all these articles, they're of course always going to be on our site. That's where you can read them in full and get the big picture. There's a couple other ways you can keep up with us right now as well. One thing that I know that Bill is very, very heavy on is Twitter. He's had the whole design team make Twitter accounts, and they've been interacting a lot with the actual Universus Twitter account, posting a lot of updates on card reveals and then kind of sharing their personal insights on them. There's been a lot of really, really, really cool action going forward with that. So if you guys could do me a huge favor, go check out all of these guys on Twitter, man. Give them some follows and get engaged in the action, because I think there's going to be a lot of awesome stuff to find out there. Already something that wasn't in the official article, but got announced by Bill on Twitter is, if you don't know, the starter decks, the one-ofs in the starter decks now are going to be disappearing with Mirio versus Overhaul. Everything will now be a two-of where it was a one-of, at the trade-off of there not being a random ultra rare in the deck anymore, which I think is a fantastic trade-off. I don't know about you, Kyle. I'm very excited to not have to buy 4 dual decks anymore just to get my final smashes.
For sure. The ultra rare was always nice, but I think that trade-off is going to be great, especially at where the price point of the structured X has gone to in the last year. $160 is a lot to expect a player to drop if they want to get their stuff out of sealed product, right? Even with that extra ultra rare. And so I think making it so that you can pick up 2 starter decks and just get that full play set is it's just very good for the consumer, I think, and I'm very happy about that change.
Absolutely. And of course, if you want more insight on that change, and if maybe you don't like that change and you want to provide some feedback, like I said, man, go check out the full article for the whole breakdown on the logic behind things, and go check out their Twitters and interact with these guys. If there's anything Jasco loves, it is constant feedback. I mean, if there's any reason to be so open with the player base, that is the reason why. So I'm sure they would all really, really, really appreciate that as much as I would. That being said, though, guys, we have a really, really exciting Wednesday Webcam Weekly coming right around the corner in just a few minutes. So before we'll let you guys go, I want to remind you all to get super duper hyped, and please tune in for the Regional Essex Exam Sheffield stream this weekend. And of course, don't forget your local scenes as well. Always support your local game stores. Check out Provisional Store Championships near you. Check out your local events near you. Encourage your local game stores to set up some sealed events. Get those awesome taking a break promos, and in general, just enjoy the game on every single level that you possibly can. That being said, we are running low on time here, guys. So Kyle and I are going to go get some super exciting stuff lined up for this first round of Wednesday Webcam Weekly. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be an exciting